Hey guys, TokuMania here, and welcome back to TokuMania Season 2. Today's episode, I thought I should review something from the Ultra series. And that's going to be a show that has nothing to do with Ultraman. This is UltraQ. Now before you start raving on in the comments saying, "Oh my god, why are you doing this series? This show has nothing to do with Ultraman." Well, the reason why I'm reviewing this is because, 1, shut up, it's my show, and 2, most of the kaiju in the show do appear in future Ultraman installments, like Gomez, Ragon, etc. Now let's get started. Eiji Tsuburaya, best known for his work on the Godzilla movies, decided to start making his own projects. With the popularity of the Twilight Zone and the Outer Limits in mind, Eiji Tsuburaya wanted this show to have a similar shtick. So, think of this show as Japanese Twilight Zone with rejected Godzilla monsters. First off, we have the theme song. It's pretty okay for the most part. It relies heavily on 2 notes, kind of like the Twilight Zone's theme, especially having its own narrator. But it adds a lot more to it and feels more original. Now let's talk about the plot. I can't say that much about it because this show is highly episodic, which I'll talk about later. Each episode revolves around our 3 characters, Jun, Yuriko, and Ippei, as they get involved with random occurrences, dealing with giant monsters, aliens, and strange dimensions. Let's talk about the characters. First, there's Jun Manjome, who's the brave and stoic leader of the group because he is a Mayan! He's also an air pilot because why not? Next is Ippei Togawa, who I like to call Jun's sidekick. He's pretty much the basis for the comic relief of the show. And then you have Yuriko Edogawa, the sole female of the group who's a news reporter. So technically she's Japanese Lois Lane. And just like the aforementioned character, she's a damsel in distress at most times. Clearly she's a well-written female character. Look at how she supports female equality, that women can be as strong as men. There's also other supporting characters like Seki, who is Yuriko's boss. Think of him as J. Jonah Jameson, both out the mustache, the cartoonish personality, and the conspiracy theories. Last is Professor Ichino Tani, who doesn't do much. He's just practically what he is and tells information on what kind of monster they're facing or what kind of unworldly dilemma they're going through. Then there are the villains of the show, or should I say, monsters. Yeah, there's no overarching villains of the show that send the monsters of the week, so think of it like Deca Ranger. There are some monsters that do appear in more than one episode, like Pegula, a monster that can shoot dry ice, first appearing in episode 5 and returned in episode 14. And then there's Garamon, first appearing in episode 13 and returned 3 episodes later. He's basically the face of UltraQ, appearing on DVD covers and in press conferences. His suit was even reused for another monster named Pigmon. Speaking of reusing costumes, fun fact, numerous Godzilla monster suits were reused for the monsters of the show, like Godzilla being used for Gomez, Manda being used for the Kairyu Dragon, Baragon being used for Pagos, etc. I personally have 2 favorite monsters. First is Gomez, which was a redesigned Godzilla suit from episode 1. What I like about it is that he has a terrifying design. Second is Keemerman from episode 19. He's pretty creepy for the most part, like the way he runs and the fact he can shoot goo out of his antenna, which can send you to his home planet. My least favorite is probably M1, the artificial creature from episode 10. His design is just dopey looking. Another con I have of the monsters is how easily they're rid of. If you're trying to make the monsters threatening, why do you have the military easily take them out? You know what just occurred to me? Now I know where the writers for the 1998 Godzilla movie got the idea from for the final scene. Now for story, I can't say that much about it because like I said earlier, there is no story. The series is highly episodic, regardless that it revolves around the same characters. Most of the time. There are like a couple episodes, 3 I think, that focuses on different characters, mostly being kids. Yeah, those episodes are pretty bad. Then again, having this show be episodic is kind of mind-boggling because it never occurs to our characters about how weird it is that every day they always come across some kind of weird monster. My final grade has to be 3 out of 5 stars. This was a pretty average series to start with, but I'd be lying if I didn't say that most of the episodes were pretty entertaining. Though the characters are bland, they are likable. The monsters are cool, but it is underwhelming for how they are defeated. UltraQ is very fortunate for being released on DVD by Shout Factory, so if you want to have some fun by just watching a cheesy, old-school, Japanese Twilight Zone-esque toku, be sure to purchase your copy. 2 weeks after UltraQ ended with its 28-episode run, the original Ultraman series hit Japan's airwaves and was a massive hit. Now, originally, next episode I was going to review that show, but then I realized that there are so many Toku shows that I want to see, I said to myself, screw it, why don't we do a roulette wheel-esque shtick for this season? We're not going to use it here, but we will next time. Speaking of which, since Power Rangers Beast Morphers is coming up, how about we look over its Sentai counterpart? Next time, we're looking at TokuMania Sentai Go Busters.